I hate JP for making you cry, Mommy.
Will you marry me again, Sienna Hayes?
Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Mommy is having a baby Zoe. You're gonna be a big sister.
I'm gonna be the best big sister ever. Best Christmas ever! I love you, Minnie.
The doorbell rang at exactly 9 a.m., cutting through the quiet Saturday morning. Sienna had been awake since 3:47, when the nightmare had jolted her from sleep. JP's face morphing into something sinister, his hands around Zoe's shoulders. She'd spent the hours since then sitting in Zoe's doorway, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall in peaceful sleep, her own hands still trembling. She knew who was at the door before she opened it. Tae-young stood there holding a cardboard carrier with 2 coffee cups and a small bakery bag, looking as exhausted as she felt. Dark circles shadowed his eyes, and his usually perfect hair was slightly disheveled. "You look like you didn't sleep either," she said, stepping back to let him in. "Got your text at 3:30. Figured you'd need this." He handed her one of the cups. "Caramel macchiato, extra shot." She took it, surprised he remembered after all these years. "Thank you." They stood in her foyer, an awkward silence stretching between them. He looked like he wanted to hug her, took a step forward, then caught himself when she instinctively stepped back. He recovered smoothly, holding up the bakery bag instead. "Croissants. Zoe's favorite, right?" "Right." Sienna led him to the kitchen, hyper-aware of his presence behind her. "She's still asleep. We should let her sleep a little longer before we tell her." In the kitchen, they moved around each other with careful choreography, her reaching for plates, him finding napkins in the drawer he somehow remembered. Their hands brushed, reaching for the same coffee mug, and both pulled back as if burned. "Sorry," they said simultaneously, then laughed nervously. Sienna busied herself arranging the croissants on a plate. "How do we do this? How do we tell a 4-year-old that the man she's been seeing, the man I brought into her life, was a criminal?" Tae-young leaned against the counter, hands wrapped around his coffee. "We tell her the truth. Age-appropriate, but the truth. She's smart. She'll understand more than we think." Sienna's voice cracked. "I led him around her, Tae. I brought a con artist into my daughter's life. What kind of mother does that make me?" He moved closer, stopping just short of touching her. The kind who was trying to move forward, the kind who believed in second chances. "That's not a weakness, Sienna. It's strength." She looked up at him, tears threatening. "It doesn't feel like strength." "I know." His voice was soft. "But we'll get through this, together. That's why I'm here." Footsteps on the stairs interrupted them. Zoe appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes, her curly hair wild from sleep. When she saw Tae-young, her face lit up. "Daddy!" She ran to him, and he scooped her up, burying his face in her hair for a moment before setting her down. "Good morning, Princess. Your mom and I need to talk to you about something important. Can you sit with us?" Zoe's smile faded, picking up on the serious tone. She climbed onto the couch between her parents, suddenly quiet in a way that was unlike her. Sienna took a deep breath. "Remember how JP used to come around?" Zoe nodded, her large eyes moving between her parents. "Well, baby, JP wasn't who he said he was." Sienna struggled to find the right words. "Sometimes grown-ups lie, and JP lied about a lot of things." "He hurt people," Tae-young added gently. "Not by hitting them, but by taking things that didn't belong to him. And because he did that, he had to go away. He can't come back." Zoe was quiet for a long moment, processing. Then she asked in a small voice, "Did JP hurt you, Mommy?" Sienna froze, tears immediately springing to her eyes. "I heard you crying," Zoe continued, her own voice trembling. "Every night, in your room. You tried to be quiet, but I heard you." Her small face crumpled. "I hate JP for making you cry." Before Sienna could respond, Zoe threw herself at her mother, little arms wrapping around her neck fiercely. "I won't let anyone hurt you, Mommy. I'll protect you." Sienna's tears spilled over as she held her daughter. This 4-year-old child trying to protect her mother broke something open in Sienna's chest. She felt Taeyoung's arms wrap around both of them, and for the first time since JP's arrest, she didn't pull away. The three of them sat there, a tangle of arms and tears and healing, crying together. "You're so brave, Zoe," Taeyoung said, his own voice thick with emotion. "Just like your mommy. You're both the strongest people I know." They stayed like that for several minutes, until Zoe pulled back slightly, looking up at Taeyoung with red-rimmed eyes. "Are you going to leave again, Daddy?" The question hung in the air, heavy with fear and hope. Taeyoung cupped Zoe's face gently, looking her directly in the eyes. "Never. I'm never leaving you again. Either of you." His gaze moved to Sienna on those last 2 words. Sienna felt her breath catch. Either of you. He'd included her in that promise. After a moment, Zoe sniffled and asked another question, this one even more direct. "If JP was bad and he left, why did you leave us, Daddy?" Both adults froze. Sienna started to deflect. "Zoe, that's complicated." But Taeyoung put a gentle hand on her arm. "No, she deserves the truth." He turned to face Zoe fully. "I made a terrible mistake, Zoe. I chose my work over my family. I was scared I wasn't going to be a good enough daddy, so instead of trying harder, I ran away. That was wrong. Very, very wrong." "Did you love Mommy?" Zoe asked with the blunt innocence of a child. "I did. I do. I never stopped loving her." He looked at Sienna as he said it. "I was just too stupid and too scared to fight for her, for both of you." Zoe turned to her mother. "Mommy, do you still love Daddy?" The room went silent. Sienna felt both pairs of eyes on her, waiting. Her heart hammered against her ribs. "It's complicated, baby." "That means yes," Zoe said matter-of-factly. "When you say complicated, it means yes, but you don't want to say it." Despite everything, both adults laughed. Surprised, watery laughter. "When did you get so smart?" Sienna asked, wiping her eyes. "I'm 4 now. I know things." Zoe's seriousness made them laugh again, breaking some of the tension. If you're hooked on this family's journey, hit that subscribe button now and drop a comment. Do Sienna and Taeyoung deserve a second chance? Let me know what you think. Over the following weeks, something shifted. Taeyoung began showing up more, not just for his scheduled times with Zoe, but for homework help, for doctor's appointments, for the mundane everyday moments that make up a life. And slowly, carefully, Sienna let him in. Their first family outing together, all 3 of them, was back to the zoo. Sienna and Taeyoung maintained a careful distance, like magnets with the same poles facing each other. But Zoe kept trying to pull them closer, literally grabbing their hands and trying to make them hold hands. "Stand together for the picture," she demanded at the elephant exhibit, and they obliged, awkward and hyper-aware of each other's proximity. At lunch, Zoe insisted they all sit on the same side of the booth. "Like a real family," she explained, squeezing between them. Sienna and Taeyoung found themselves pressed together, thighs touching, both studiously focused on their food. "She's relentless," Sienna murmured. "Wonder where she gets that from," Taeyoung replied with a small smile. The second week, they dropped Zoe off at school together for the first time. Other parents did double takes, clearly assuming they were a married couple. Neither corrected the assumption. Zoe proudly announced to her teacher, "These are my parents," with such joy that Sienna felt her throat tighten. Walking back to their cars, they fell into comfortable silence, a new development. Before, silence between them had been heavy with accusation and pain. This felt different, easier. "Same time pickup?" Taeyoung asked, Yeah, 3:15. He nodded, started to leave, then turned back. Sienna? Yeah? Thank you for letting me be here. I know it's not easy for you. She studied his face, the sincerity there, the gratitude, the hope he was trying to keep contained. You're showing up. That matters. By week 3, he was invited to stay for dinner. Sienna was making spaghetti when flour from Zoe's help went flying, coating everyone. Tae-young retaliated with a gentle handful aimed at Zoe, who shrieked with laughter. Some landed on Sienna's nose. Tae-young reached out without thinking, brushing it off with his thumb. The moment their eyes locked, everything else fell away. The kitchen, Zoe's giggles, the boiling pasta, it all receded. There was only the two of them and the charge in the air between them. Mommy and Daddy are making googly eyes, Zoe sang out, breaking the spell. They sprang apart, both blushing like teenagers. After dinner, they watched a movie, some animated thing Zoe had chosen. Halfway through, she fell asleep between them, her head on Sienna's lap, her feet stretched toward Tae-young. When the credits rolled, he carefully lifted Zoe. I'll put her to bed. Sienna watched him carry their daughter to her room, watched how he tucked her in and kissed her forehead, how he'd learned where everything went and the exact routine Zoe needed. When he came back down, she was pouring 2 glasses of wine. Want to stay? Just talk? The offer surprised them both. He took the wine glass. I'd like that. They ended up on her balcony, city lights twinkling below, the Atlanta skyline a glittering backdrop. The conversation started surface level, Zoe's school, work updates, but gradually deepened. I've been in therapy, he said quietly, every week for the past 3 years. Really? I had to figure out why I ran, why I was so scared of failing that I guaranteed failure instead. He took a sip of wine. Turns out I have this pattern of self-sabotage when things matter too much. If I destroy it first, I can't fail at it. That's incredibly unhealthy, Sienna said, but her tone was gentle, not judgmental. I know. I'm working on it, learning to sit with discomfort instead of running. He looked at her. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I used work the same way, Sienna admitted. After you left, I threw myself into building the company, worked 80-hour weeks, told myself it was for Zoe's future, but really, I was avoiding feeling anything. If I stayed busy enough, I didn't have to deal with the pain. And JP? She flinched at the name but didn't look away. I thought he was different. Easy. Safe. Turns out I'm not great at reading people. You read me pretty well right now. His hand, resting on the armrest between them, shifted slightly closer to hers. Do I? Her pinky finger moved, barely touching his. Neither pulled away. What do you see? Someone trying. Someone who's changed. Someone who... She trailed off. Someone who what? Someone I'm terrified to trust again, she finished honestly. I know. I'm terrified too. His whole hand covered hers now. But maybe we can be terrified together? She didn't answer, but she didn't pull her hand away either. Week 5 brought a parent-teacher conference. They sat side by side in the tiny chairs while Miss Rodriguez praised Zoe's improvement. Whatever. You're doing at home, keep doing it, the teacher said. She's been so much happier lately. She talks about her daddy constantly now. The stability really shows. Walking to the parking lot afterward, Sienna said, You really are good at this. Being present. I'm learning from the best. He meant her. They reached her car. He opened her door like he used to, that small gesture of care she'd forgotten. Sienna, can I ask you something? She tensed, preparing for something heavy. Can I take you to dinner? Just us. A real date. Her heart leaped and fell simultaneously. Tay, I don't know if I'm ready to... I'm not rushing. I'm asking. Whenever you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'd like to take you on a proper date. No pressure, no expectations, just the possibility. She studied his face, seeing the hope there, the vulnerability, the willingness to risk rejection. Let me think about it. That's not a no. That's not a no, she confirmed. 3 days later, she texted him. Dinner, Saturday, but I'm driving myself and I'm telling Crystal where I'll be. His response came immediately. Anything you need to feel safe. Thank you. Saturday evening, Sienna stood in front of her closet for 30 minutes, trying on and rejecting outfit after outfit. She finally settled on a deep burgundy dress, elegant but not trying too hard. Her hands shook slightly as she applied lipstick. You look beautiful, Mommy, Zoe said from the doorway. Maya was watching her for the evening. Thank you, baby. Are you going on a date with Daddy? Sienna knelt down to Zoe's level. Yes. Is that okay with you? Zoe threw her arms around her mother's neck. I hoped you would. I want us to be a real family. We already are a real family, Zoe. No matter what happens with me and Daddy, that doesn't change. At the restaurant, Tae-young stood when she approached, his eyes widening. You're beautiful. You've always been beautiful, but tonight... She felt herself blush. You clean up pretty well yourself. Dinner conversation flowed more naturally than expected. They laughed about Zoe's latest antics. She tried to teach the neighbor's cat Korean words. They talked about work, about books they'd read, about the new restaurant they wanted to try. But eventually, Tae-young went serious. What are we doing here, Sienna? She set down her fork. I don't know, but I want to find out. Do you? I'm terrified, he admitted. Terrified I'll mess this up. Terrified I'll hurt you again. Terrified I'm not enough. I'm terrified too. Terrified of trusting you. Terrified of what it means if I do. Terrified of what it means if I don't. So we're both terrified. Completely. But you're here anyway. I'm here anyway. He reached across the table, palm up, offering. She looked at his hand for a long moment before placing hers in it. Can we take this slow? She asked. Really slow? I need time to trust this, to trust you, to trust myself. As slow as you need. I'm not going anywhere. At her office Monday, Crystal pulled her aside with that look, the one that meant a serious friend conversation was coming. Are you sure about this? With Tae-young? Sienna leaned against her desk. No, I'm not sure about anything, but I know he's different now. Different how? He was absent for 4 years. He shows up now. Every single time. No excuses. No business emergencies taking priority. Sienna crossed her arms. Last Tuesday, he brought me lunch because he knew I had a difficult board meeting. He asks how I am and actually listens to the answer. He notices when I'm tired or stressed. That's basic human decency, Sienna. It's definitely basic parenting. It's more than that. Sienna's voice softened. He's in therapy. He's done the work. I can see it. And you're falling for him again. It wasn't a question. Sienna looked at her friend and let out a long breath. I don't think I ever stopped. I just buried it under so much hurt and anger that I couldn't see it anymore. Crystal's expression shifted from protective to concerned. Then be careful. Your heart isn't the only one at stake. Zoe's is too. I know. That's what terrifies me most. If this doesn't work, if he leaves again, it's not just me he'll devastate. And if it does work, Sienna smiled slightly, then maybe we get the family we should have had all along. That same afternoon, across the city, Tae-young sat in his therapist's office, working through his own fears. Tell me about your relationship with Sienna, Dr. Park said. We're dating, sort of. We went on our first real date Saturday. How did it feel? Terrifying. Amazing. like coming home and jumping off a cliff simultaneously. Tae-young leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I'm so afraid I'm going to mess this up. What are you most afraid of? That I'll fail her again. That when it matters, when there's a choice between work and family, I'll choose wrong. That I'm not enough. That I'm still the same man who left 4 years ago. And if you do make a mistake, not abandonment, but a normal human mistake? Tae-young's hands clenched. I don't get to make mistakes with them. I used up my chances. That's not how love works, Tae-young. Real love allows for imperfection. It requires it, actually. If you're trying to be perfect, you're not being real. But after everything I did, you're a different man now. The man who left 4 years ago wouldn't be sitting in this office. He wouldn't be asking these questions. He thought he had all the answers. Dr. Park leaned forward. You're different because you know you don't have all the answers. That's growth. Tae-young felt tears burning behind his eyes. What if I hurt her again? What if I hurt Zoe? Then you'll apologize, make amends, and try to do better. That's what partnership means. It's not about never failing. It's about how you handle failure when it comes. 3 months after JP's arrest, Tae-young sat at a traditional Korean restaurant with his parents, the first time he'd seen them in person since returning to Atlanta. His mother set down her teacup with that precise movement he remembered from childhood. You want to remarry her? His father asked in Korean, his tone disapproving. Yes. The woman who I abandoned while pregnant. The woman who raised my daughter alone for 4 years. The woman who had every right to hate me but is giving me another chance anyway. Tae-young's voice was firm. Yes, that woman. His mother studied him. You've changed. I had to. The man I was 4 years ago didn't deserve her. I'm trying to become the man who does. His father grunted, still not convinced. Can you promise you won't leave again? I promise I will show up every day. I promise I will choose my family over my work. I promise I will be the father Zoe deserves and the partner Sienna needs. Tae-young met his father's eyes. I can't promise I'll be perfect, but I can promise I'll try. His mother spoke then, her voice gentle. You left a queen because you were too blind to see her crown. If she takes you back, you'll spend the rest of your life proving you're worthy. Can you do that? His father pressed. Spend your whole life proving yourself? I don't see it as proving. I see it as honoring. She deserves to be honored every day. His mother smiled, the first genuine smile since he'd arrived. Then you have learned. Bring her to us. We want to meet our granddaughter properly and apologize to the woman we should have supported 4 years ago. Relief flooded through Tae-young. Thank you. What are your intentions? His mother asked. I want to propose. I want to marry her again. I want to build the life we should have had. His parents exchanged a look. Then his mother reached across the table, taking his hand. Then we'll help you plan something worthy of her. The next Saturday, Tae-young arrived at Sienna's door with an enormous bouquet of white roses and peonies, her favorite flowers, though she'd never told him she still loved them. The arrangement must have cost a fortune. What's this for? She asked, taking the heavy vase. Do I need a reason to bring you flowers? He stepped inside, and she noticed the Tiffany blue bag in his other hand. Tae-young, you don't have to. I want to. He set the bag on her counter. Open it later. It's nothing big. But when she opened it after he left with Zoe for their Saturday outing, nothing big turned out to be a stunning diamond bracelet with a small charm, a tiny letter Z. The card read, For carrying the weight of parenthood alone, you deserve to be celebrated. Tai. Sienna stared at it for a long moment, her throat tight. Then she put it on and didn't take it off. The gifts kept coming. Not overwhelming, not every day, but thoughtful and frequent. A first edition of her favorite novel, noise-canceling headphones for her office, a spa day at the most exclusive place in Atlanta, a custom leather portfolio embossed with her initials for important meetings. "You're going to spoil me," she said one evening when he showed up with dinner from the upscale restaurant she'd mentioned wanting to try but never had time to visit. "That's the plan." He unpacked containers while Zoe colored at the table. "You spend so much time taking care of everyone else. Someone should take care of you." "I can take care of myself." "I know you can. That's not the point." He looked at her seriously. "The point is, you shouldn't always have to." 2 weeks later, Tae-young took Sienna to his family's restaurant, the one his parents ran, traditional Korean food that reminded him of childhood. She wore a beautiful navy dress he'd sent to her office that afternoon with a note. "For tonight, if you hate it, wear whatever makes you comfortable. Ty." She'd kept the dress on. His parents were waiting, and Sienna felt her nerves spike. Zoe wore a traditional hanbok his mother had sent for her, pink and purple with delicate embroidery. She looked like a little princess and knew it, twirling to make the skirt flare. "Grandmother? Grandfather?" Zoe ran to them without hesitation. Tae-young's mother swept her up, speaking rapid Korean. Zoe giggled, responding with the few words Tae-young had taught her. His father's stern expression melted completely as he tickled her. Then his mother approached Sienna, and the older woman's eyes filled with tears. "I owe you an apology. We should have supported you 4 years ago. We should have been there for our granddaughter, for you. I'm sorry. Please forgive an old woman's blindness." Sienna hadn't expected this. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do. You raised her beautifully, alone. That takes incredible strength." She took Sienna's hands. "Thank you for giving my son another chance. Thank you for letting us know our granddaughter." Dinner was warm and full of laughter. Zoe charmed her grandparents completely, and they spoiled her with attention and treats. Tae-young's father pulled Sienna aside while his wife was teaching Zoe a Korean children's song. "My son was a fool," he said bluntly, "but he's a changed man. I see it. Whatever you decide about your future together, know that we support you. You'll always be family to us, even if you choose not to take him back." "Thank you," Sienna managed, surprised by the emotion in her throat. "That means more than you know." As they were leaving, loaded down with containers of leftovers, Tae-young's mother pressed something into Sienna's hand, a delicate jade bracelet. "This was my mother's. I want you to have it. For luck. For protection. For love." In the car, Zoe fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from excitement and attention. Tae-young drove them home through quiet streets. "Your parents are wonderful," Sienna said softly, not wanting to wake Zoe. "They love you, both of you." "I wasn't expecting the apology." "You deserved it. You deserved a lot of things you never got." He glanced at her. "I'm trying to make up for that. I know I can't erase the past 4 years, but I can try to make the next 4 years, the next 40 years, everything they should be." Her breath caught. 40 years? He was thinking in lifetimes. At her house, he carried sleeping Zoe inside, navigating the familiar path to her room. Sienna followed, watching him tuck their daughter in with practiced care. When he bent to kiss Zoe's forehead, whispering, "I love you," in Korean, Sienna felt something in her chest crack open. Downstairs, she poured them both wine. "Stay a bit?" They sat on her couch, closer than they'd ever sat before. She was hyper-aware of his thigh against hers, his arm along the back of the couch, his fingers occasionally brushing her shoulder. "Sienna, can I ask you something serious?" Her heart rate picked up. "Okay." "If I asked you, if I wanted to," he was nervous, stopping stumbling over words. Would you ever consider marrying me again? She turned to face him fully. Are you asking? Not yet. I want to do it right, but I need to know, is it even a possibility? Or am I hoping for something that can never happen? She was quiet for a long moment, letting herself really consider it. 6 months ago, the answer would have been an immediate no. 3 months ago, maybe. Now? I don't know, she said honestly. But I'm not saying no. I'm saying I need more time. I need to see that this is real, that you're really different, that we can really make this work. How much time? I don't know that either. Is that fair to you? He took her hand, threading their fingers together. You're letting me be part of your life, part of Zoe's life. You're giving me a chance. That's more than fair. That's grace. She leaned her head on his shoulder, and they sat like that, hands clasped, breathing in sync, until the wine glasses were empty and the city lights blurred through the window. 4 months after JP's arrest, on a Saturday evening in April, Tae-young picked Sienna up for what he said was just dinner. But when they arrived at Piedmont Park instead of a restaurant, she knew something was different. What are we doing here? She asked as he led her down a familiar path. You'll see. He brought her to the bench where he'd first pushed Zoe on the swings, where their fractured family had started to heal. But now there was a small bronze plaque on the bench, where our family began again. Tae-young. She touched the plaque, tears already forming. He took both her hands, and she realized he was shaking. 4 years ago, I stood in front of you and made promises I didn't keep. I destroyed something beautiful because I was too scared and too proud to fight for it. Please, let me finish. I've been practicing this for weeks. He smiled nervously. Today, I'm a different man. Not perfect. I'll never be perfect. But I'm a man who knows the value of what he has. A man who will choose you, choose us, every single day. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a ring box. Sienna's breath stopped. This is your original engagement ring. I kept it all these years, but I had it reset. He opened the box, showing her. The original diamond was there, but now surrounded by smaller stones. The center stone is us, our original love. The surrounding stones represent the years apart, the pain, the growth, the lessons learned, everything that brought us back to each other. Tears streamed down Sienna's face. Sienna Hayes, I don't deserve you. I know that. But I'm asking anyway. Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving I've changed? Will you let me honor you every day? Will you marry me again, but better this time? She looked at the ring, at his hopeful, terrified face, at the plaque on the bench. She thought about the past 4 months, how he'd shown up for every single thing, how he'd earned her trust back piece by piece, how he'd made her feel cherished and protected and loved. I have conditions, she said. His face fell slightly. Okay. Couples therapy, weekly, non-negotiable. Done. If work ever threatens to come between us and our family again, we talk about it immediately. No running, no protecting me by making decisions alone. Absolutely. And you have to promise me that if you're struggling, if you're scared, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you tell me. No more secrets, complete honesty, even when it's hard. I promise. All of it, whatever you need. She looked at him for a long moment, then smiled through her tears. Then yes, I'll marry you. He swept her up in his arms, spinning her around as she laughed and cried simultaneously. When he set her down, he slid the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, like it had always belonged there. There's one more thing, he said, and suddenly people emerged from hiding, both sets of parents, Maya, Crystal, even Zoe, with his mother. Zoe ran to them, practically vibrating with excitement. Did she say yes? Did she say yes? She said yes! Tae-young picked up his daughter, and the three of them embraced as families and friends surrounded them with congratulations and happy tears. 6 months after JP's arrest, they got married in an intimate garden ceremony. Only close family and friends attended. Zoe was Flower Girl in a beautiful hanbok-inspired dress that mixed Korean and American styles, just like their family. When it was time for vows, Tae-young spoke first, his voice steady despite the tears on his face. 4 years ago, I made promises I didn't keep. Today, I promise to choose you every single day, to be the father Zoe deserves and the partner you need, to tell you when I'm scared instead of running, to love you not perfectly, but honestly. You are my home. You've always been my home. Sienna's vows were equally emotional. When you left, I thought my life was over. Instead, I learned I could survive anything. I learned I was stronger than I knew. But I also learned that strength isn't refusing help. It's accepting it. You hurt me deeply. But you've shown me what real change looks like. I choose to love who we've become. I promise to trust you, but also to demand honesty. I promise to build a family with you, not a fantasy, but something real. I choose you. Again. And again. After they said I do, after their first kiss as married couple, Tae-young did something unexpected. He turned to Zoe, who was standing beside them, and knelt down to her level. Zoe, I have a question for you too. He pulled out a small box with a delicate necklace inside, a pendant that said Daddy's Girl in both English and Korean. Will you let me be your daddy? Officially. Forever? Zoe threw her arms around his neck. You already are, silly. I know, baby girl, but I want you to know. I choose you too. You're not just part of the deal. You're my daughter, and I'm so proud to be your father. He put the necklace on her, and Zoe touched the pendant with reverent fingers. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Princess. Forever and always. Then all three of them embraced, a family officially, completely, finally whole. At the reception, Tae-young's mother pulled Sienna aside one more time. You know what the jade bracelet I gave you means? For luck and protection. And for eternal love. She smiled. I knew when I saw you with my granddaughter. I knew you were meant to be family. 3 months after the wedding, Sienna woke up feeling nauseous. At first, she thought it was something she ate, but when it happened 3 days in a row, Crystal noticed at work. When was your last period? Crystal asked pointedly. Sienna froze. Oh my God. The pregnancy test confirmed what she suddenly knew in her bones. She was pregnant. She and Tae-young had created another life together. That evening, after putting Zoe to bed, she found Tae-young in their home office. Their home now. He'd officially moved in after the wedding. I have something to tell you. He looked up from his laptop, immediately closing it and giving her full attention. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. She took a deep breath. We're pregnant. He went completely still, processing. Then his face transformed, pure joy mixed with disbelief. We're... really? Really. He stood up so fast his chair rolled backward, crossed to her in 3 strides, and pulled her into his arms. I get to do this right. From the beginning, I get to be there for everything. She felt his tears on her neck as he held her. Thank you, he whispered. Thank you for giving me this. We made him together, she said softly. Him? I don't know why, but I feel like it's a boy. He pulled back, cupping her face. I love you so much. I will never take this for granted. Never. Small footsteps interrupted them. Zoe stood in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Why is Daddy crying? They exchanged glances, then Sienna held out her hand. Come here, baby. Zoe climbed onto the couch between them, and Sienna took her hand, placing it gently on her still flat stomach. How would you feel about being a big sister? Zoe's eyes went wide as saucers. A baby? A real baby? Yes, sweetheart. Mommy has a baby growing in her belly. Hi, baby, Zoe said directly to Sienna's stomach. I'm your big sister Zoe. I'm going to teach you everything and protect you and share my toys. Well, not all my toys, but some of them. All three of them laughed through tears, holding each other, a family of 3 about to become 4. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment. What was your favorite moment? And thank you for going on this journey with this family. Sometimes the road to forgiveness is long, but it's worth every step. 9 months later, baby Lee Min arrived at 3:42 a.m. on a snowy December morning. Tae Young was there for every contraction, every push, every tear. When their son was placed on Sienna's chest, when Tae Young cut the umbilical cord with shaking hands, when they both cried over this perfect tiny human they'd created, Sienna felt something complete inside her. We made him, she whispered, touching their son's tiny fingers. Together, Tae Young agreed, kissing her forehead. Everything together from now on. When Zoe met her baby brother later that morning, she was so gentle, so careful, so full of love. Hi, Minnie, she whispered, using the nickname she'd already chosen. I'm going to be the best big sister ever. As Tae Young looked at his whole family, his wife exhausted but glowing, his daughter protective and proud, his son sleeping peacefully, he felt overwhelming gratitude. 4 years ago, he'd had everything and thrown it away. Today, he had everything again. But this time, he knew exactly how precious it was. 2 years later, on Christmas Eve, their home glowed with lights and love. Zoe, now 6, was helping 2-year-old Lee Min decorate cookies while Sienna and Tae Young watched from the doorway. Can you believe this is our life? Sienna murmured, leaning into her husband. Sometimes I wake up and think I'm dreaming. He wrapped his arms around her. That I'll wake up alone in that hotel room, having lost you all over again. You're not dreaming. We're real. This is real. That evening, they all piled on the couch in matching Christmas pajamas, red plaid that Zoe had insisted on. Lee Min fell asleep against Tae Young's chest almost immediately. Zoe fought sleep determinedly, not wanting to miss a moment of the movie. Sienna's head rested on Tae Young's shoulder, his free arm wrapped around her. The Christmas tree lights twinkled, casting everything in a warm glow. Outside, snow began to fall, blanketing Atlanta in rare white beauty. Daddy? Zoe asked sleepily. Is this happily ever after? Tae Young and Sienna exchanged glances over their children's heads, a whole conversation in a look. Yeah, baby, Sienna said softly. This is happily ever after. Not because it was perfect, not because the road had been easy, but because they'd chosen each other again and again through pain and healing and growth, because they'd built something real from the ashes of what they'd lost. As the movie played on and their children's breathing evened into sleep, as snow continued to fall outside and the tree lights sparkled, Sienna felt complete peace. This was her family, hard-won, fiercely protected, deeply loved. This was home.